What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Future Knight Eric here, back with another first place OTS winner mat deck profile. And today I will be covering my updated Post Banlist Edlich deck. This past weekend, our locals decided to implement the newest ban list because we have a regional coming up this weekend, and we wanted our players to get some reps in before the regionals. This deck is absolutely incredible. The turnout for the tournament was really great. We had a 5-round locals, and I ended up going 5-0 against 3 Salamangreat players and 2 virtual players. Obviously, Salamangreat getting the buff from their second circle, and the VW players getting a buff from their third E-Telly. Having played in a tournament that had a relatively competitive aura or atmosphere, definitely has created an opinion in me that I think is very strong, which is this is easily the best deck of the format, alongside something maybe like PK Adventurer or anything / Adventurer, but this deck is absolutely phenomenal. The version that I'm playing today is a little bit different from the norm. The main deck, I can say confidently, is pretty standard. However, the extra deck and the side deck are very spicy. And I do believe, as an Eldlich player, that fellow Eldlich players should consider this build moving forward, because I do think it is the best build we have available to us right now. That being said, not much else to say. Obviously, we are doing the profile on this beautiful structure deck Spirit Charmers mat that I won. And yeah, I guess we can just get right into it. Alrighty, for the Eldlich engine, we are playing a pretty standard lineup of 2 Golden Lords, 3 Cursed Eldlands, 3 Eldliches, 3 Conks, 2 Haquero, and 1 Golden Land Forevers. This lineup, I think, is pretty standard, except for maybe the Golden Land Forever. I know a lot of players don't play that. However, having played in this tournament, I do believe that this ratios for this engine is perfect, with this card, Golden Land Forever, being your flex spot. Now, what I mean by that is, I found in the tournament that your Golden Lord getting called by, although it's not the end of the world because you don't need to resolve the effect because you can just Eldlich summon it, it does hurt. And what I think is going to happen in this format is, because this is going to be such an oppressive deck, a lot of people are going to start main decking or side decking things like Ghost Spell, DD Crow, IDP even, and IDP, if it gets rid of both of your Golden Lords, you just can't play anymore. You then end up playing Lord of the Heavenly Prison and, Golden Land Beatdown, which is just really not ideal. So this card I am thinking about cutting for either a 3rd Golden Lord or something a little bit more versatile, like maybe the Guardian of the Golden Land. This card is very underrated. In Mastered Rule, this card single-handedly has won me many games. So I think this engine has to stay at these ratios, with this last card being interchangeable for an in-archetypal card. It just depends on your locals and, your meta and how people are siding and playing against you. But again, this engine is just absolutely incredible. It has been since its release. Cursed Eldland is definitely better this format than it has ever been. It baits out so much, whether it's a pop, whether it's a negates, because once you add your Golden Lord, you're pretty much breaking almost any board. So yeah, it's just an incredible card, and you have to play it this format. Then for the non-Eldlich, non-trap cards, we are playing 2 Lord of the Heavenly Prison, 1 Call by, 3 Part of Extravagance. I still prefer Part of Extravagance over something like Part of Prosperity. Just drawing into 2 really powerful traps feels a lot stronger than perhaps adding one or adding, a key card. You will always get into your Eldlich engine over time, and your traps allow you to buy that time. So I still believe Part of Extravagance is better. If I did own Prosperities, I probably would test them. Maybe not at 3, maybe at 2 or 3 and 1. But for now, Part of Extravagance, I think and feel, is still better. Call by the Grave, obviously this is for the mirror, as well as to stop those pesky hand traps like Crow, Bull, and Ash, just so you can get your engine to resolve. And then we come to the Lord of the Heavenly Prison. A lot of people are playing this card because of its actual effect, the protection, as well as the summon and the set. However, I've found in the tournament that that isn't its most appealing property. From my understanding, this card is a massive bait. The amount of times in the tournament that I had these two cards together was incredible, firstly. But these two cards together bait out almost any negate, because what you can end up doing is you can set your Cursed Alt land. You can then reveal your Lord of the Heavenly Prison. That will never get negated, whether it's a Raw, Strike, or anything. The reveal will hardly ever get negated. You will then flip your Cursed Old Land, and in a new chain your Lord of the Heavenly Prison. This will always get negated, because if they allow it to resolve, not only are you summoning a 3k beta, but you can also set cards like IDP, you can set all of your strong trap cards, even Called by the Grave, and they just, they have to respond because of that looming threat. And after they've responded with that, you can then resolve your Cursed Alt Land and search your Golden Land and break their board anyway. So it's not like it even mattered. That's where I found value in the Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Of course, if it resolves and you get to set whatever card you want, go for it. Like, that is absolutely incredible. Or if it's protecting you from a Lightning Storm or a Harpy's Feather Duster, sure, go for it. Again, with this card, you always want to resolve it once they have a monster or body on board, because you don't want them to, resolve a Lightning Storm against you. But this card is incredible. Always at 2, never at 3. I don't even play the third in the side. Seeing this in multiples is terrible. Then going off to the non-normal traps, I'm playing 3 Strike. This is obviously staple. 3 Judgments. A lot of people playing this in the side, but I don't know why. I don't think there's a trap card that's better, in my opinion, so I'm playing it in the main. And then, of course, we are playing the 3 Mistakes. This card is dumb. I only resolved it, I think, once in the entire tournament. It did win me that game, just because my opponent couldn't go into access code and kill me. But it is a mistake of a card. The card is ridiculous. I don't know what Konami was thinking, but as long as we have it at 3, we're going to play it at 3. And I do actually have 3 Lost Arts. Shout outs to Herbert and Dom, my teammates, for hooking me up with the other 2 copies. And then, yeah, these cards are pretty much staple. Like I said, the main deck is very standard. Then for the counter trap, continuous traps, the normal traps, 3 of the best card in the game, 2 of the second best card in the game, and then 2 of a card that's slowly becoming more and more mediocre. But I still think it's very valuable against rogue decks that can't deal with the double pop. But I do think this is probably going to get changed out for something else at some point, whether it's needle sealing or maybe back row removal like heavy storm dusters in the main. But for now, the card was in the main deck. And then the last 2 normal trap that I'm playing is Paleodynamiscus. This could technically be anything else. You can play Dimensional Barrier, you can play things like Needle Sealing, Heavy Storm Dusters, but I just found this card really, really strong. And as it's a engine enabler, if you have a Golden Land in hand, I just feel like it's got a lot of versatility that not many other cards have. The amount of times that I banished the face-up targets that VW monsters were targeting on field was incredible, and it won me many games. So I think this card is really, really strong. Also being able to just banish the PK monsters off the field so that they can't even resolve in the graveyard is just incredible. And then finally, I did play 2 Trap Trick. Obviously, you could cut 1 Trap Trick for any other card. The only other cuttable cards, in my opinion, are that Golden Land Forever. But again, I would like to cut that and change it out for something that's still in Archetype. The only other card is maybe Called By and Trap Trick. But to be honest with you, I think this main deck is perfect. I don't think there's a single card I would change or should be changed. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the main deck. Like I said, pretty standard. And now we move on to the extra deck and the side deck. So the spice that I'm playing in this deck is Zoodiac. So I will explain my card choices and why I ended up playing those. Just let me quickly get through the stock standard stuff. So obviously we play the Link Spider, we play the Liner. This card is broken. When you Monster Reborn your opponent's Lancia and then Lancia them, it's very funny. Blackluster Soldier, it closes out games and is just a very oppressive body that your opponent can hardly ever out. We play the 1 Pallades, the 1 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max, the 1 Agnista, which could be an Entis, but this against bad DPE players outs DPE, so I ended up playing at Agnista, and then we play the 1 Entis for our punishment targets. Now, for the Spice, I do need to go into my extra side deck a little bit to show this off. I'm playing 2 Zeus in this build, as well as 2 Borbao, 2 Chuckanine, 1 Tiger Mortar, and 1 Hammerkong. For the side deck, I've got 1 Thoroughblade, 2 Ram, 2 Cataroost, and 1 Tenki. So, why did I play this engine in my Eldlich deck, even if though it's in the side and the extra? Why? First reason is I couldn't use Sphere Modes and Lava Golems because I was loaning them to a friend to use in the tournament. So I thought to myself, what other cards in the game do the same thing as Sphere Mode and Lava Golem? And the answer was Zoodiac. Because as soon as a Zoo body hits the board, the threat of a 4 material Zeus is there. And I thought to myself, that is actually in some instances stronger than a Sphere Mode or a Lava Golem. Because Lava Golem and Sphere Mode require your opponent to end on boards that can be Lava Golem and Sphere Mode. Whereas a Zoodiac, they could have 5 monsters, they could have 1 monster, it doesn't really matter. They could have full back row, it doesn't matter. It's still going to clear the board, or at the very least, bait out a disruption. Because once the Zoo hits the board, you know there's going to be a Zoo. So they have to Rage, they have to Blackout, they have to Imperm, they have to Veiler, they have to stop the Zoodiac from attacking. And that is also, of course, why I chose the Zoodiacs that I chose. Cataroost stopping things like Veiler and Hot Red. Ram stopping things, even more important, like Blackout, Imperm, Rage if they use the discard pop instead of the relink pop. And then I ended up playing the 1 Thoroughblade just because he's got the highest attack, as well as, being able to help out clunky hands where you draw one of the 4 and, the Thoroughblade. But yeah, the engine is absolute power. The amount of times that I made a Zeus set a judgment pass to the Salamangreat player, then Zeus, they would chain Raw and I would just chain judgments, was phenomenal. Also, the reason I'm only playing the 5 names and a Tenki instead of just 6 names is the Tenki often will bait and negate straight away, because like I said again, as soon as the Zoo hits the board, you're pretty much losing your board. But the Tenki can also be sent off of Golden Lord's effect to summon him. And a Zeus and a Golden Lord is almost always game. So that's pretty much it for the side version. The reason I'm playing these ratios for the extra deck, obviously 2 Zeus makes sense. But the first time you make a Zeus, you're going to normal summon, you're going to make your Borbor. Always make the Borbor first, because if they disrupt it, you haven't burned through random names for no reason. You'll attack. You will go into either Hammerkong or Tiger Mortar, chuck a 9, and then make a Zeus. If your opponent were to disrupt you in any way, and you had made it with maybe Ram or Cataroost, so say they want to go Veiler or they want to go, Imperm, you can then detach to protect, and then you still have the 4th name to make a 4 material Zeus. Yes, your next Zeus will be only a 2 material Zeus, but it still guarantees that you are making 1 4 material Zeus. And then obviously, if they don't disrupt you at all, you still have enough materials for another 4 material Zeus with another Zoodiac name. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason for the ratios. Again, this isn't really because of extravagance. I'm not too worried about banishing, all my names. But when you're going second, you're probably going to be siding out Extravagance anyway, because it will get negated. And unlike something like Cursed Oldland that, remains on the board and you can use again, Extravagance getting negated does actually hurt, because you've just gone -1 and you've banished maybe some valuable extra deck monsters like the ones I showed earlier. So you'll often side out the Extravagances, put in the Zoodiacs, which makes a very easy siding process, and then you can make, as you can see, the 4 material Zeuses, which not a lot of decks can play through, to say the very least. And I do believe, like I said at the very beginning of this video, this is the best way of playing this deck, without a doubt. It felt so strong, and I can't believe, that somebody hasn't picked up on it before. The rest of the side deck is not too standard. I am playing the 3 heavy Stormduster, 2 Cosmic, and 1 Harpies, just so that we can respect other back row decks. Although 9 out of 10 times you can outgrind them with the Eldlich cards. I just felt like this format, I'm probably going to be seeing a couple of mirrors, so definitely have to play those. And then for the final card, I played 3 of the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! There is a reason for this over something like Dark Ruler or Sphere Modes or so on and so on. It feels like every Salamangreat player will always draw red reboot. So once they red reboot you, sure, go ahead, make your access code talker. And when they make the access code talker after resolves gaining its pathetic attack, you just droplet it. And now suddenly they can't kill you, which is really, really strong. Again, being a chainable card, being able to send your Cursed Oldland is incredible. Again, making Tenki stronger. 9 out of 10 times you'll be signing these in with the Zoodiacs against combo decks. Obviously against back row decks you'll be putting in the Cosmics, Harpies, Feather Duster, and the Zoos. But it's just such a versatile card, and like I've been saying in most of my recent deck profiles, this card should be on the ban list in some capacity. Maybe not banned, but semi-limited or limited, because every time I see this card, no matter what deck I'm playing, I win that duel. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the deck profile, ladies and gentlemen. If you are an Eldlich player, I highly recommend you try out this Zoodiac side version, because again, I do feel like it is the strongest version of the deck that can be played right now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have been enjoying the recent content. If you do not know, I'm doing 2 giveaways currently. They're running at the same time. On my last 2 videos, they were openings of Battle of Chaos as well as the Grand Curators. So check those out, comment and subscribe and like those videos to enter those giveaways. And yeah, expect some more content coming soon. We have a regionals this weekend. I will be judging, so I won't be playing, so I can perhaps grab some content for you guys and gals. But yeah, we'll just have to see what this week and the rest of the month holds for us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Future Knight signing out.